Okay, I literally just got back in from seeing Drive Angry, and my official recommendation is it is highly recommended. Go see this film for a good time. Even though it's in 3D and you have to pay a little extra, one of the few films. You know what? If you're mad about that, go to a matinee, and that should make the difference up. Hopefully, because this is a fun film full of ridiculous stuff. It does not take itself too seriously, yet at the same time doesn't fall into that trap that some films fall into when they're not trying to take themselves seriously and make themselves so silly it's not worth watching. No, this film does the perfect match. It right balanced. Uh, Basically, this is basically a grindhouse film like Machete, like Planet Terror, all those, except it's not under the grindhouse logo. But it's the same spirit, same type of film, and it's ridiculous enough to. I actually like this better than them. uh, where should I begin on this one? I guess we'll get the basic plot out of the way. It basically stars Nicolas Cage as a character called Milton, who escapes from hell in order to save his granddaughter, little baby granddaughter, from being sacrificed by a cult led by Billy Burke's character, Jonah King. And along the way, he picks up Amber Heard's character, Piper, and is being chased by a character called the Accountant, played by William Fichtner, who you might remember from Black Hawk Down and Armageddon. Uh, and let me just say, all four of these actors are completely chewing the scenery in this movie, and it's great. Normally, you have like one actor in there that just like chews the scenery, and you just love the character. Uh, Want him in every single scene, like Raul Julia in Street Fighter. It's one I can think off the top of my head. This film, all four of these characters are like this, and you want to see them constantly. You have Jonah King there is a Satanist preacher who is kind of balls out of his mind. He is hilarious. You have William Fichtner, the accountant character, basically. The guy is trying to get Nicolas Cage back into hell. Very, very smooth player. The stuff he does equally. Oh my god. I'll have to get into some of his stuff later. Piper plays a really feisty, aggressive female who doesn't quite get what's going on, but still very feisty. And of course, you got Nicolas Cage basically playing Nicolas Cage, which is what you expect from this movie. I mean, if you've seen this trailer, if you probably even clicked on this review, you're in that type of mode. You're not caring about a traditional critic's opinion on a movie. This movie is pure fun, and it does a very nice little twist. It's very much in that old, what I like to call the Southern action movie. Basically, those films that normally took place in the Midwest or the South about blue collar people and having some action. They're very popular. They're normally trucker movies, actually, from the 70s, and a lot of them were grindhouse films. You don't really see too many of them today. There was one came out a couple of years ago. It was about a trucker. I think was it Dennis Quaid or Patrick Swayze? One of them. But it's that type of exploitation film. I would like to call the Southern exploitation film, or B-grade movie. And let me just describe to you one scene to make this. Well, this is probably what most people. This scene's going to be the one that everyone remembers from this film. I think I've already heard, before I went there, a few other people were talking about this scene. And it's basically Nicolas Cage is having sex with a woman in a motel room. He's wearing all of his clothes. She's butt-ass naked. He's got sunglasses on. He's smoking a cigarette. He's drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels, and he's having his fun. And she goes, why don't you have your clothes off? And he goes, I never disrobe before a gunfight. And just then, a whole group of these Satanists, who only one of them decided to bring a gun, by the way. Everyone else got like clubs with like spikes sticking out of them or sickles. And he does not stop his lovemaking during this shootout scene. He basically whips out a pistol, doesn't even drop his Jack Daniels, and starts, shooting them as he comes in, not stopping his lovemaking. In fact, even at one point during the middle of the fight, he then takes a nice little chug of his Jack Daniels here and then continues on with both the fighting and the loving. Oh my lord! And it goes on afterwards. She seemed all right when it was going on, but then afterwards, his little companion there seems traumatized. She didn't seem too traumatized during the shootout, though. Oh my. That and probably the end action scenes also, where the Satanists have gathered in this old prison and they're throwing like the stereotypical Satanist party. They've got pentagrams burning in the background. The women are like completely nude, going, oh yeah, party. And then of course Nicolas Cage pops up and they all whip out guns. Now they have guns. Now everyone's equipped with shotguns and pistols. Even the nude women, which I don't know where they got their guns out of because they didn't have any pockets. But there's also some very interesting stuff in this film's kind of mythology. It's kind of building up, which basically lends to the accountant character, or the character played by William Fichtner. Basically, the demons and the devils basically aren't that bad at guys. Now we're getting into spoiler warning territory here, so be warned. Basically, at the very end of the film, the accountant kind of lets, when they find out what the Satanists are doing, the accountant kind of lets Nicolas Cage just go and does it. And the reason he gives is, like, Satan really doesn't like having children sacrificed. It really pisses him off. As it turns out, Satan really is just someone that was assigned to run hell. He's just like a warden who just runs hell, and really that's his job. Almost like God kind of. And I know some religious scholars have actually made this point, or have said this is like how where he's actually just someone that was assigned to be basically the devil's advocate. Ironic name for humanity. And that's kind of what they run with this. Is like they're part of the celestial order, but they're really not evil per se. They just kind of have to run the prison where all the bad people are sent. And they kind of go with it, and it's a rather interesting way to look at it. Although William Fichtner's character is still hilarious because he has this coin, which is basically his equivalent of a Green Lantern ring, because it basically does whatever he wants, including killing a bunch of people with it. Yeah, he kills a bunch of people with a coin. Well, 2 people. Okay, be fair. And dare I even say, since we already got into spoiler warnings, Nicolas Cage, at the very end, he has a beer by drinking it out of the skull of Jonah King. Yeah, yeah, he does it. And he says he's going to do that earlier in the film, too. He follows through. Sorry, now, I can't be all praises on this film, because there is a bad side, and unfortunately the bad side of this film is one of the major draws of the film, which is the 3D. 2 problems with it. One, there's not a whole lot of 3D in there. Even in the action scenes, there's some here and there, especially at the beginning, but after that, not a whole lot. And if you're paying $2 to $4 extra bucks to go see a 3D showing, you want to make sure you get your money's worth out of 3D. Say what you will about Resident Evil Afterlife, there was a lot of 3D in that film. They used a lot of 3D. This one, it doesn't really feel like you get your money's worth out of 3D. And the other problem is, I think a lot of the 3D... Now, this might have been my theater, because the 3D effects looked blurrier than normal, not as realistic as normal, kind of poorly done for a film that was apparently shot in 3D. Now, when I get to the blurry stuff, I'm kind of maybe thinking it's possibly my theater. Maybe they didn't adjust it correctly. But, yeah, I was disappointed by the 3D. If you can catch a 2D showing of this, go for it, please, by all means. You won't really be missing out. Yeah, there's just a couple, little pointing at you, coming out of the screen stuff. But, Other than that, there's really not. 3D doesn't add a whole lot to this film. If you have to see it in 3D and you really, really don't want to spend all that money to see it, go to a matinee showing, go to a morning showing. Go see this movie, though. It's very fun. Of course, if you're pretentious and you don't like that and only enjoy high art, well, why are you listening to my channel? But highly, highly recommend it. Go see the film. Have some fun with it. You're gonna have a lot of fun. I gave you a few spoiler warnings, but I didn't ruin everything in this film, and there's still some stuff to see in there for sure. But signing off for now. Hope you have fun with the film.